Hey guys, Mike in the Woods here. As my subscribers already know, I'm one of approximately 1 million people who have a reservation down on the Tesla Cybertruck. I plan on doing all sorts of Cybertruck related content with it, including some overlanding trips. While I'm new to the concept of overlanding, I have identified what I think are 7 unique benefits that only the Cybertruck seems to offer for overlanding trips. And today, I'm going to share them with you. And one thing before we get started, if you are new to the channel, consider subscribing, hit the like button if you find this interesting, and leave any questions you have in the comments below. And let's get into the video. Number 7, it's a giant power bank on wheels. I touched on this in my previous video on 7 reasons why the Cybertruck would be a great crap hit to van vehicle. A link to that up at the top of the screen and in the description below, but it's also a very good point to make in this list. Since the Cybertruck is all electric, it's essentially one giant battery bank. While out in the backcountry, you don't have to worry about keeping your electronics fully charged, things like your cell phone, your tablet, a Garmin InReach, etc. And not only that, but it also features outlets in the bed of the truck so you can plug in whatever 120 volt or 240 volt tools and utilities you happen to have with you. Large LED floodlights, small refrigerators, and so on. Well, obviously this will drain the truck's battery, taking away from your range. It's all a balancing act and a useful capability to have with you out in the middle of nowhere. Number 6, a low center of gravity and a high approach angle. If you're not that familiar with electric vehicles, usually, such as in the case with the Cybertruck, the batteries all sit along the bottom of the floor of the frame, along with the wheels, forming what is often referred to as the EV skateboard on which the rest of the components are built. And, as I'm sure you're aware, batteries are heavy. What this means is that, not just with the Cybertruck, but all electric vehicles with the skateboard design, the center of gravity sits much lower than traditional gas-powered vehicles. And this makes it much more stable and resilient to tip-overs. And not only that, but because there's no mechanical components lining the bottom of the vehicle, it's just the smooth undercarriage of the armored battery case, making it less likely to get hung up on something or damage something with a particularly pissy rock. And the final thing noted was the high approach angle. Pickup trucks don't normally have high approach angles to my understanding, but the Cybertruck will have a 35-degree approach angle and a 28-degree departure angle. The smooth underbody, the high approach angle, and the low center of gravity should make this a very interesting vehicle for off-road exploration. Number 5, multiple camp setup options. While the obvious one is the camp setup the Cybertruck has been advertised as having a package for, other options include removing the rear seating in the cab to create a little work and sleeping space, and even in the bed of the truck, as it has a retractable bed cover called a vault. More on that in a bit. This means you have a lot of customization with how you want to set up your shelter. You can stick to just the bed of the truck, or the cab if you want to make room for other gear. You can camp outside of the truck entirely with a separate tenting setup, or you can do the traditional overlanding bed tent setup with the aforementioned Cybertruck package. And this gives you versatility. If you're staying the night in a Walmart parking lot in the middle of civilization, you obviously don't want to set up a tent, so you can covertly sleep in the truck. But if you're out in the backcountry, you probably want to spread out your space a bit more and enjoy the outdoors. Number 4, recharging with solar. A point can be made that the charging network for electric vehicles still has a lot of needed growth ahead of it, especially for backcountry travel, but even today, you'd be surprised at just how much charging infrastructure pops up on a weekly basis. The world is moving to electric vehicles, and the infrastructure to support it is moving right along with it. But even then, electric vehicles offer one advantage that a gas-powered car does not have: the ability to be recharged by solar energy. The Cybertruck will apparently come with a package that has solar panels mounted to the truck bed cover, adding, I think, up to 24 kilometers a day of range. Now, obviously, that's not much if you're driving every day, but if you set up shop in the backcountry for even just a few days, that's a considerable amount of charge being added back in. Heck, if you're out at one spot for long enough, you can top right back up to a full charge. Or at the very least, you can counteract any power you use from recharging your electronics and tool usage. And that's not even accounting for any third-party or additional solar charging setup. For a project far down the pipeline for this channel, I'll be building an ultralight, fold-out solar array for my Cybertruck, and the goal is to be able to add roughly 100 kilometers of range a day via solar under optimum conditions, maybe more. Number 3, self-driving capability. By the time the Cybertruck enters production, hopefully Tesla's full rewrite of the self-driving software has released, which will antiquate today's current version, which is only just starting to explore inner-city self-driving. Even now, with today's software and hardware though, Teslas can basically drive themselves with minimal interruptions on highways, even being able to go from off-ramp to on-ramp to transition which highway it's on. While obviously it's not foolproof, most people who are not familiar with Teslas don't actually often know just how advanced the system has become. If not by the time it's in production, then not long after, Teslas will basically be able to drive themselves from point A to point B under most normal road circumstances, with minimal need to have you take over. This will be extremely useful to portions of travel spent on paved roads, and heck, even today, under the right conditions, Teslas can handle self-driving on dirt roads with a bit of guidance and a readiness to take over when needed. And lastly on the subject, Auto Park and Auto Summon are two rapidly evolving features that are allowing people to park or summon their vehicle without having to be in it. As capabilities evolve and the rules around driverless cars ease, one day in the near future you might be able to make your truck come to you from quite literally anywhere. And remember, you're not locked into whatever features are available on purchase. All Tesla vehicles get constant updates that bring you up to the bleeding edge of what Teslas are capable of. Number 2, the vaulted truck bed. As mentioned before, the bed of the truck comes with a retractable vault door. Not only does this give you somewhere else to sleep if needed, and give real estate for the solar panels, but most importantly, it locks your truck bed up tight, keeping everything inside safe from prying eyes and thieves. This way, you don't have to worry about leaving your truck parked somewhere sketchy with gear in the bed, allowing you to have more cargo capacity without having to keep everything important locked up in the cab. And given the fact that Tesla touts the extremely tough exterior of the Cybertruck, it should deter plenty of people from even trying. This is also great for any environment-sensitive gear you want to keep back there that you don't want getting rain, snow, mud, or sand on. At the slightest hint of trouble, just key it in and the vault bed will close, keeping your stuff dirt-free and dry. And number 1, it's quiet. Electric vehicles are dead silent. There's no combustion power roaring away under the hood, just quiet, brushless electric motors attached to a giant battery pack. Electric vehicles are so quiet, in fact, that you can actually creep up behind someone with one and they would not even know you were there. If you think I'm kidding on this exact concern, if you want to call it that, is causing some legislators to propose adding, and I'm being completely serious here, fake noise in order to avoid idiots running out in front of silent cars. And the reason the quietness might be of importance to you is twofold. Firstly, it keeps your noise profile way down, so you're not announcing your presence and drawing unwanted attention, especially when stationary. And this could be very useful if you're in a particularly sketchy part of the country you're in, and if you slow way down, ain't nobody gonna know you're driving on by. The second utility of the quietness is to not bother wildlife, especially if you're out in the backcountry. There's the perspective of not wanting to cause problems to the local animal population, but the other benefit is that this might let you get closer for photography and videography purposes if that's your jam. Well, there's 7 of what I think are particularly interesting and useful benefits to using a Cybertruck as an overlanding vehicle. As I mentioned before, I have one reserved and I'm definitely committed to making it a cornerstone of this channel. I'm hopefully going to be one of the first Canadians to take delivery, as I reserved my dual motor version on the night of the reveal. I'll be the guinea pig putting it through its paces and seeing what it's truly capable of while taking you all along for the ride. So make sure you guys subscribe so you don't miss out on that. And if you're new here, I take a look at how futuristic technology can intersect with traditional outdoors experiences, so consider checking out my other videos if that's your thing. So, what do you guys think? Do you think the Cybertruck will be an interesting overlanding truck? Do you think there's going to be some unforeseen problems? What kind of crazy trips and shenanigans do you want to see me get up to with mine? Let me know in the comment section down below. And also, I'd appreciate it if you hit the like button for the almighty YouTube algorithm. And lastly, if you want to help out the channel, I'll leave some links in the description, such as my Patreon, as well as my online 3D print and paracord shop. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will catch you next video.